My sister has been tormenting me all my life. Today she received an epic payback. My parents have 3 daughters, Maya, me and Sally. Sally has always been the problem. When she was born she had a severe medical condition which led doctors to believe that Sally wouldn't survive at all. But my parents never gave up on Sally. They spent enormous amounts of money and time on her treatment, and one day miracle happened. Since then they have loved Sally more than anything, and she became the favorite in the family. She always had only the best things. I mostly got my sister's small clothes and hand-me-downs. I didn't mind it, but it was unfair that I was the forever neglected child. I was the scapegoat. For some weird reasons, Sally was always in competition with me, and my parents also pitted us against each other. I was always supposed to behave and never complain. And my sister Sally was a brat. If I had a dollhouse, Sally had a bigger one. If I did something good, my parents would just say well done and forget about it. But if Sally even won any competition, they would throw a party. Since then I've walking on eggshells around my parents. I had always been grounded and I didn't even complain. Sally has been teasing me and our other sister Maya, all because she was a special child. Sally has always been awful towards me. She would often tease and torment me and even steal my stuff. My parents didn't do anything. And like I mentioned, Sally was always in competition with me. If I ever wanted to participate in a music contest, she would too. I remember having a crush in high school. What did Sally do? She made out with that crush in front of me. My parents didn't even have enough money for college for Maya and me, but Maya got a scholarship and I had to take a loan. The last straw was when Sally interfered with a big love of our heroine. She wrote, "I was dating a guy in college and I loved him so much. Sally brought him home when his parents were away. I caught them kissing passionately in our basement. It was a huge pain for me." My parents berated Sally a little bit, but after a few days, they were like, "Well, what happened just happened. We cannot separate these love birds." She screamed at her parents that she had endured their neglect for all these years but wasn't going to do it anymore. The woman cut off contact with her family and there was a lot of tension for several years. Sally remained just as shameless as she has always been and started dating my ex. I eventually got over it and soon I met a very nice guy and we got married. I invited our parents to the wedding but not Sally. My parents declined my invitation and showed me their disrespect again, but I didn't mind, as I was happy. I am currently pregnant with my first child. My parents did reach out to me once and despite being skeptical, I finally agreed to reconcile. Our family has a tradition when they arrange a big dinner once a year at my parents' place. All our relatives and cousins are usually invited to it. After I reconciled with my parents, I came to that dinner with my husband, Adam. Sister Sally was also there with her husband. It was my ex, whom she stole from me many years ago. During the evening, to everyone's shock, Sally tried to be closer to my husband. He would just ignore her. When it was time for dinner, my parents made a speech. Then Sally suddenly stood up and declared that she was so lucky to be there with us and that she could have died when she was a baby. Sally turned to me and said, "Dear sister, I know it must be painful for you because your beloved is now my husband, but I'm grateful for your blessing. I know it must be so unbearable for you to be here knowing how difficult it was for you to compete with me, but I want to applaud your bravery." At that very moment Adam, my husband, stood up and shouted at Sally. He said, "You think you are very special because you were a miracle baby. Well, I was a miracle baby too, but I don't make a fuss about it like you do. You are such a pathetic lady that the only achievement in your life you have is your accidental survival. What else have you accomplished? Everything you have was stolen from my wife, even your husband. You are so irritating that even your husband doesn't like you. Do you know what the truth is? You have nothing and you are nothing. You are very shameless and you even tried to hit on me. You already got my wife's ex and now you want her husband. I would rather die than be with a woman like you. Your personality is worth a paper bag." Adam also mentioned that Sally has always been jealous of my wife because she knew she would never be as amazing as she is. There was more, but it was so brutal that Sally burst into tears. My parents and all my relatives were shocked. Even my cousins were silent. I knew that everyone in the room hated Sally. I was just laughing silently. My mom noticed and said I was a vicious person for laughing at my sister's misery. But I don't mind. It's karma.